Chapter 10. Colette POV. Merrick walks slowly beside me as I limp along in my brace that keeps the strain off my healing bone and sore muscles. My open wound is closed finally, now nothing more than a scab and a massive bruise where it had ripped through my. He was quiet for most of the movie and I'm not even sure what we watched as I was so hyper-focused on his closeness. The familiarity of him being near me, even though I don't know him well at all. It's strang and quat. I enjoyed spending time with you, and quat. He smiles, and I chuckle nervously. And quat. It is kind of nice to see you aren't always killing people. And quat. I joke and he laughs. My skin tingles and I look up at him as he shakes his head and his green eyes meet mine. I'm immediately pink-cheeked and I can feel it, but there's no hiding it. Merrick is hot as hell and he is looking right at me. And quat, so you have a sense of humor under that quiet good girl facade, and quat, facade, and quat. I ask, confused. Do I appear fake? And quat. I know who you really are. I see you, and quat, he says, once again being mysterious and strategic in the way he speaks. 3 times now he has alluded to me not being who I am or not knowing what I am to him. And it scares me. There is much I don't know about myself. Who my parents are, how they both died or where I was before I was found bloodied and left outside my pack's front gate with a note begging for them to take me in. And quat. I am an orphan. And quat. I sigh, watching him as he processes the information. And quat. There is nothing for you to see other than what is standing before you, which isn't much. And quat. Do you feel like being an orphan makes you unworthy? And quat. He asks, genuinely curious as we stop outside my room. And quat. No, but it makes others see me differently. And quat. I sigh. And quat. People used to pity me, then they grew to dislike me because they would be punished if they were friends with me. And quat. I freeze and watch him curiously. And I see a flicker in his eyes that feels like a strike to the gut. Is that why he chose me? Did he know I was an orphan and so there would be no family to protest my going with him? No one will see. My heart racing. There were rumors he likes to hunt his women. It was a crazy rumor, and I was convinced they were just stories. But the way he watches me, wants to know me but always insists he knows more about me. There is this all a setup to toy with me. He can't be nice. That's not in the alpha of death's personality, right? And quat. Colette, you seem to be thinking too much again. And quat. He frowns, his knuckle brushing my cheek as I blink at him. And quat. And quat. I swallow, stumbling back a step clumsily into the door. And quat. You look like you think I will eat you up. And quat. He chuckles and I don't dare admit that I'm worried he might do exactly that. And quat. I am just a little tired, that's all. And quat. I lie, giving him a tight smile before clearing my throat and looking away. And quat. Colette, and quat. His tone is low and husky, commanding my attention as I gulp and look at his unreadable expression. And quat. Where do you go, little mate, when you shut down after a perfectly normal conversation? What did they do to make you so afraid of yourself? And quat. His eyes scan my face, his hand reaching out to slide through my hair, brushing it out of my face. And quat. I go where I belong. And quat. I whisper. And quat. Where I am wanted. And quat. Merrick's head tilts to the side, watching me, assessing me, then he sighs and draws his hands back. And quat. I see. And what can I do to make you see you are wanted here? And what? He asks. My heart stutters at the thought that he might care. I clear my throat, needing to change the subject, unable to handle the intensity of his gaze. And what? Can I do things in the pack? And what? I ask. And what? What do you have in mind? And what? And what? I don't know. And what? I muse, then I look down at my leg. The one thing I have always wanted to do was defend myself against the mean words, the strikes to my B** die, just the right and ability to stand my ground confidently and not cower in hopes they don't break me the next time. And what? Would you like to start training? And what? Merrick offers as if the thought isn't absurd. I can't help but laugh. And what? Me? Train? And what? I snort, but he watches me intently. And what? Why not? And what? And what? I mean, look at me. I am and what? And what? Weak. And what? He finishes my sentence for me with an arched brow. And what? That sounds like an excuse. And what? And what? It was always the excuse I was giving back in my pack. And what? I frown. And what? You aren't there anymore. And what? He reminds me. Not that I need the reminder. He has done a decent job of reminding me every time I see him. And what? I would like to train. And what? I admit, looking down at my feet. And what? Good. And what? He says, looking relieved. And what? I will send Penny to fetch you in the morning. And what? And what? In the morning. And what? I ask, my eyes wide. And what? But my leg. And what? And what? There are other forms of training. And what? He chuckles. And what? Penny will fetch you in the morning and get you outfitted, then you and I will start. And what? And what? Okay. And what? He backs away, sauntering backward before giving me a grin. And what? Sleep well, little mate. I plan to exhaust you tomorrow. And what? Then he winks and turns his back to me. I push into my room, feeling a little disappointed that he is choosing to stay in a different room still, but I know if he were to come in and stay with me, I would feel the opposite. I don't turn the light on, the bright moon once again glimmering off the massive B** die of water in the distance. In the short time I have been here, this room has become my safe space, the only place where I feel complete and relaxed, and I know it has everything to do with the view. I totter over to the window, pushing it open as a breeze dances through the curtains and I feel a shift in. I move to my bed, stripping off my brace with a satisfied groan as I gently rub my pinched skin. Exhaustion moves in, and instead of moving to get into pajamas, I strip down to my undergarments and wiggle. Cocoon of there is rustling in the room, pulling me from my first full night's sleep in forever, and I peek out of my blankets to see the same maid as before moving about my room, pulling clothing out of my dresser while humming a song. She spins gracefully, dancing to the song in her head before she freezes and her eyes find mine. A sheepish grin grows on her face and she stands up straight after getting. And what? You must be Penny. And what? I mumble and she nods. And what? That would be me. And what? She says, chipper as she moves over to the window. And what? You left the window open. And what? My eyes grow wide and I panic. Am I not supposed to have touched the window? And what? Oh, I'm sorry. And what? I say, throwing my blankets off to shut the window for her. And what? Why are you apologizing to me? You are the Luna. And what? She tilts her head, confused, and I squeeze my eyes closed. Right. I'm the Luna. Not the maid who forgot to close a window. Not the lowly servant who gets I am anymore. Or at least, it won't be who I am. Right. And quat. I sigh. And quat. Is there a reason I shouldn't have the window open at night? And quat. And quat. I only mentioned it because my grandma used to say you could catch something if you leave your window open. But then again, Grandma was human, so her perceptions are a little different from her life in her world. And quat. And quat. You're half human. And quat. I ask, and she chuckles. And quat. I mean, aren't we all human with a little beast inside us? And quat. She winks. And quat. Do you have any family around? And quat. Penny asks as she rushes over to grab the pile of clothes for me and places it on the bed. Then she looks me over with a curious glance and goes back, grabbing fresh underwear and a sports bra. I look down, realizing I'm just sitting in my bra, and undies and I tug my blanket to my chest, embarrassed by the way my bones seem to protrude under my malnourished flesh. And quat. I have no family. And quat. I admit, and she scoffs. And quat. Lucky for you. I have a twin brother. Heavens, I love him. But sometimes I want to wring Percy's damn NCK. And quat. And quat. Percy is your twin. And quat. I ask, my eyes growing wide. She smiles, bending down to grab my brace from the floor. And quat. Yep, we are both training to be your gamma. And quat. And quat. My gamma. And quat. I ask. And quat. I get a gamma. And quat. And quat. Too, actually. And quat. She gestures to the clothing in a way to urge me to get dressed. And quat. And what exactly does a gamma do? And quat. I ask, feeling a little dumb. And quat. Well, basically we are your protectors, but we also do whatever you need us to. Alpha Merrick has Beta Hayes, who will always choose him. You have me and Percy. And quat. And quat. Wait, you will always choose me. And quat. I ask, confused. And quat. I mean, yeah, as long as you don't do dumb shit. And quat. She laughs. And quat. But you don't appear dumb to me. Now, hurry and get dressed so we can meet Alpha Merrick. I can still get in trouble with him, so let's not push much. And quat. Chapter 11. Penny leads me away from the training pitch where I can hear the warriors yell and grunts as they spar. I look over my shoulder as it grows more distant and I frown to myself, confused. I know what it sounds like supposed to be training. Why the hell are we going the opposite way? My stomach churns and realization dawns. Maybe Merrick isn't ready for his pack to meet me yet. Perhaps he fears they will find me weak and unworthy, as I originally thought. Words are empty when there is our Shaw has done an awful lot of making it feel the opposite. And quat. So? That's the training arena behind us. And quat. Penny says, as if she can read my mind. And quat. You'll be in there once your leg heals. It's really only used for sparring with the uppers. And quat. And quat. I see. And quat. I mumble, my eyes scanning the surrounding area. This pack is massive, less concise than I expected. The pack house, which is the only place I've actually been, is the closest to the water's edge, looking over it like a proud parent. The rest of the pack? Nearly well a lot like I've stepped into a fairy tale village. And quat. This is what we call Old Town. And quat. She says, spinning with her arms out like it's a marvel even to her. And quat. So I assume there is a new town? And quat. I ask, and she laughs. And quat, we have a more modern section, yes. But this is our slice of the past, and it's really our senior pack members' village. The hustle and bustle of city life is that way. And quat, she points to my right, and I can see the way the buildings change and the sea of people. And quat, and so we are going. And quat, yeah, sorry, we are going to the lake. And quat, she grins. And quat, the lake. And quat, MMHMM, the first order of business is a gentle walk. And quat, my brow is already sweating and my leg aching as we walk to the place I'm supposed to start my walk. How damn ironic that the walk there may kill me before I get the chance to start. And quat, okay. And quat, I try to remain positive. I mean, what kind of training did I expect with a bum leg? Really? I am so focused on my steps and reminding myself that I've had worse pain, worked harder when I felt way worse. I can do this. When we get there, Penny spins to face me. She gives me an awkward fake curtsy with a wink and then flounces off, leaving me behind. And quat, wait. And quat, I call after her. And quat, what the hell am I supposed to do now? And quat, she lifts her hands in a shrug. As I frown at her back, am I just supposed to wait here? Or start my walk on my own? This is the first time I am outside in the pack, and she expects me to just find my way back to the pack house. If I'm lucky, I will find my way back before dinner. I groan in frustration before exhaling a huff of air and turning to look at the water. And quat, which way would you like to go first? And quat, I hear Merrick say from behind me. I look over my shoulder, a little shocked to see him. And quat, first. And quat, I squeak out. The thought of walking much more tires me out. My leg is aching, and though I feel stronger than I have in years, but the pain is draining. He chuckles as he comes up to my side. And quat, training is for the entire day. And quat, he says, like the answer was so obvious. My eyes slide down to my throbbing leg and I muster a fake smile. And quat, of course, let's go. And quat, I say, brushing past him, losing my balance for a moment before I clear my throat and straighten myself up. Merrick seems to saunter behind me, either trying to keep from laughing at me or he is worried I will try to turn around and run. I push on for a little while, the pain creeping up my thigh and into my pelvis before my side aches, and I realize not only is my injury pretty severe, so is my lack of fitness. And quat, stop. And quat, he says finally, his voice clipped and an edge to it. I frown, disappointed as I turn to look at him, and he tilts his head, looking me over from top to bottom. And quat, how bad does it hurt? And quat, it's fine. And quat, I assure him, but he frowns. And quat, I do not tolerate lies. In fact, I punish for them. And quat, he steps forward and my eyes grow wide at the simmer of anger I see there. And quat, I'm sorry. It's a habit. I didn't mean to lie. I'm just used to having to work through my pain. And quat, I admit, as he watches me closely. Merrick sighs, his anger melting as he shakes his head. And quat, not here, not with me. If you feel pain, I want to know. I care about your well-being. Have I not made that clear? And quat, I'm sorry. And quat, I mutter. And quat, stop apologizing and be honest. How does it feel? And quat, it hurts. And quat, I whisper. And quat, walking is still hard, and quat. Good thing we won't be walking for training today, and quat, he says, passing me and taking the lead. I scrunch my nose, confused. And quat, then what kind of training will we be doing? And quat, I call to his back, but it falls on deaf ears as I struggle to catch up with him as the dirt grows to sand and we trudge to the waterline. Merrick stands there, his eyes W and quat. Take off your brace, and quat, he says, pointing to the contraption at my hip that runs down my outer legs to just below my knee. I wince at the thought of losing my crutch, but I quickly unlatch the buckles and Velcro, relying heavily on my other leg for support. And quat. Okay, now what? And quat, I ask, and he smirks. And quat. Now you swim. And quat. My eyes nearly bulge from my face, my mouth falling open to protest, but nothing comes out. I don't know how to swim. Hell, I swear I told him I've never even had a bath. But now he expects me to just wade into the dark unknown and prove I can swim. What monsters lurk in the water that I can't see? Aren't there all kinds of fish that can bite me? And quat. And quat. I tilt my head and look at him. Then down at myself. And quat. I don't think Penny gave me the appropriate clothing for swimming. And quat. I try to reason with him, but he simply smirks, only pointing at the water like he demands me to go in like this. I whine as I slide my shoes off, wincing as a jolt of pain travels up my leg and to my chest. But I bite it back, refusing to let him see me as any weaker than I'm certain he thinks I am. My bare feet toe the water and a shiver runs through my B** die as a squeal arms and he trudges into the rips from my lips. The next thing I know I am scooped up in Merrick's powerful arms and he trudges into the water as I cling to his NCK, not wanting to touch the frigid water with anything more than my feet. My hair flies into my face as my heart soars too. My throat and fear grips me. I am floating through the air, hitting the cold water first with a sharp inhale before I am plunged under into the darkness of the water. I flail as best as I can, my legs tearing through the icy waves and my arms reach for anything to help me get my head above the water. The water muffles his laughter, but I know exactly what it is, which only few surface and squeal. And quat. Just stand, and quat, he says with a smug look and I go still. My feet hit the ground, my B** die settling and going upright as I balance easily on my good leg and I find my center. My eyes find his, not bothering to hide my and quat. I almost drowned, and quat. I mutter, and he shakes his head. And quat. You are standing just fine, and quat. I've never been in water like this before, and quat. I squeal, my anger and embarrassment taking over my thoughts as my wolf simmers below the surface. Merrick wades closer to me, stopping just before touching me. And quat. Your wolf is stronger now that you are here. It is okay to trust her, rely on her as she continues to grow and heal with you, and quat. It's not her I am having trust issues with, and quat. I mutter and his lips twitch, trying to hide yet another smile. And quat. How does the water feel? And quat. He asks, tilting his head, watching me curiously. I give him a side eye before looking around. And quat. Wet, and quat. I say, and he waits for more from me. And quat. And cold. Why is it so cold? And quat. Do you like it? And quat. No, and quat. I bite out as a shiver runs through my B** die. It grips me tight, making it nearly impossible to keep my balance as I lean forward and into his warmth, my wolf and B** die. Seeking the heat, he seems to radiate with a quiet laugh, and I look up to see him shaking his head. And quat, you are becoming more comfortable, and quat, he says finally, smiling down at me. I don't want to admit it, but yes, longer I remain in the water, the more my B** die adjusts to the temperature and I become comfortable. And quat, it feels better on my leg, the lack of pressure. And quat, now, and quat, he says, taking a slight step back and to my side. He grabs hold of my hand, and I swallow roughly as he gives it a squeeze. And quat, we will walk in the water to help you strengthen your leg again each day, W. And quat, how long do you think that will take? And quat, I ask curiously, and he shrugs. And quat, a typical werewolf. Maybe a week or two. With you I expected it being much longer, but you seem to be getting stronger relatively fast now that you are here. And quat, I know it is a statement, but I can hear the question in his voice, the way he is saying it, in hopes I might have some insight to offer. And quat, is that because I am mated to you? And quat, I ask him. And he hums in thought. And quat, could be, but we aren't fully mated. We have accepted each other, but the mate bond hasn't been fully. And quat, we haven't marked each other yet. And quat, I finish for him in thought. I furrow my brow, my brain running rampant with thoughts, and then it hits me. Maybe it's not just the bond. Perhaps there is something her and quat, you are thinking. Again, and quat, he mutters and I frown, stopping as I look up at him. And quat, do you think? I don't see why they would, no, and quat, I fumble through the awful thoughts. As much as I hate Leslie and she hated me, she couldn't have. No, she wouldn't have poisoned me all this time, would she? And quat, you think Leslie was poisoning you? And quat, he asks, no judgment on his face, as he watches me curiously. And quat, I do feel better than I have since I can remember. Is it possible, do you think? And quat, Merrick shrugs. And quat, possible? Yes, likely, maybe. The question now would be, why did she feel she had to keep you weak? Any thoughts on that? And quat. Chapter 12. It's been a week already and every day has been the same routine. Wake up, grab something to eat. On the way out and walk with Merrick. My healing is insanely fast and I am more convinced every day. Not once has he let go of my hand when we walk in the water, and even though we often walk in silence, it's comfortable and occasionally he will flirt with me. Or rather, he tries to flirt with me with a gentle push with him, eat dinner or watch a movie like we did the one time, but Hayes usually rushes him away to do something or meet with a pack mate. And quat, I can't believe he still hasn't introduced you to the pack yet. And quat, Penny grumbles as she turns my bed down for the night. A habit she is loving doing while I stand by awkwardly and wait to just crawl my sore B** die into bed. And quat, we aren't marked yet. And quat, I remind her and she frowns at me. And quat, an acceptance is like an engagement ring, Cole. My heart stops and I inhale sharply as she says the nickname I nearly forgot. Or rather, I have tried to forget along with the person who called me by that name. It still hurts. It feels like it will always hurt. And quat, don't call me that. And quat, I snap and Penny freezes, her eyes sliding to gauge my reaction before she softens and nods. And quat, I'm sorry, Luna. Sometimes I forget my place and I just sort of. And quat, you don't have to call me Luna, but just, you can. Call me that name, please, and quat, of course, and quat, she says, walking over to me, and quat, I'm sorry, and quat, it's okay, and quat, I sigh, and quat, you didn't know. How could you, and quat? Then I think for a minute and I smile. Any nickname you want but not that, and quat, I'll think of one, and quat, she winks, and quat, now you should get some rest. You look exhausted, and quat, thank you, and quat, I murmur, crawling into the bed as she walks to the window and closes it, and quat, could you leave it open, and quat, I ask her and she looks conflicted before she gives me a soft smile and nods, opening it back up, and quat, good night, Luna. I settle into my warm blankets, a smile on my lips as I know a good night's sleep is coming. I've had amazing, rejuvenating sleep every night since training started, and to say, sleeping is now one of my favorite. It feels like I am falling, my B** daylight and chilled as. Suddenly I am dropped in a swamp. The muck comes up to my thighs and I grunt as I try to release myself from it, fighting with every ounce of my B** die as I turn, then hands swoop me up, and I am freed, tucked into a warm embrace as the person runs with me, their hood up over their face as they look over their shoulder repeatedly. I try to speak, but nothing seems to stop and sets me down. I am small now, no longer my usual height but that of a child, and the hooded figure kneels before me, pulling off their hood. The woman's blonde hair stands out in the dark, and her worried eyes meet mine, as I try to figure out who she is, why she is in my dream, and then I feel it. The draw to her in my chest, the pain in my heart as she cups my cheek with a shuddered breath. And quat, do not follow me, my little water bug. And quat, Mom, and quat, I whisper, and she gives me a reassuring smile. And quat, please, stay and wait. He will be here soon, and quat. Then she rushes off. And quat, who, and quat, I cry out, chasing after her, breaking through the thick brush and sloshing through the soggy earth. And quat, Mom, come back, wait, please, and quat, the green light is back, glowing little orb that seems to guide me through this dream state, pulling me in a different direction. I stay rooted where I am. Mom said to wait here. She said he would be here soon. Who he even is, I know I want to meet him, to see him. But that light grows brighter, burning my eyes the longer I remain still before it flies at my face, pestering me like a mosquito on a warm summer's eve. I swat at it, annoyed that it won't leave me, and as I hit it, my hand sparks and a wave of electricity shoots through me painfully. I cry out, trying to understand what the hell is happening, as it comes for me again, and suddenly I am running from the menacing orb that is at pitched tune, making my ears ring, and I feel so utterly alone and desolate as I turn and run for my life. The moon highlights the darkness of the water to my left as I weigh my options. Can I lose this orb in the water? My stomach churns at the thought of being in the dark water alone with no idea how to swim. I plunge into silence, one that calms me, and I allow myself the moment before I open my eyes and see the orb just above me. It dances over the rippling surface, like a bee trying to find the right flower to pollen for my face. All the air in my lungs bubbles out as I try to push myself deeper, but the orb stops short of my nose. And quat, find her, and quat, a voice seems to come from everywhere around me, my wolf whining in the back of my mind, trying to tell me something, warn me. But I am too lost in the meaning of the voice in the water. And quot, find her before it is too late. She needs you, Colette, and quot. Then the orb shoots off and I break through the surface, dazed as I gasp for air. I rush to the water's edge, coughing and shivering as I try to figure out what I need to do next. Nothing makes sense, everything and quot, Mom, and quot. I cry out once more, my voice cracking with emotion as I watch her look back at me, and then she speeds up, pushing herself to move further away as tears well in my eyes and I try to catch her. Why is and quot? Wait, and quot. I scream after her, fighting against the wetness in my clothes that tries to restrict me as I run after her. I chase her for minutes, her looking back at me with heartache in her eyes as she dodges tree branches and leaps over roots that seem to claw at me, dragging me down and helping her escape me. My leg tingles as a branch tangles around my arm and I grow frantic, fear tearing at my chest as I think about losing her. She told me to wait, but I can't. I can see the distress in her and feel it as she slowly disappears, and then I growl as I rely on my wolf strength for the first time, and I break free, sprinting forward. Victory is just a few yards away as my mother remains still, as if she is waiting for me, like she truly wanted me to come for her all along. And quot, Colette, and quot. I hear my name, but it is distant, muffled as though I am under the water again, unable to distinguish who it is calling to me. My mom beckons for me with her hand, motioning for me to come closer to come to her, and I take a step forward, only for a root to grab my leg. It winds up my B*die, crossing over my chest and pulling me back against a trunk, holding me there. And quot, Mom, and quot. I scream, watching as she takes a small step toward me, only to stop as she screams out in pain and falls to her knees before me. My vision goes static for a moment, and a vibration seems to speak to my wolf, making it whine and pace. Then I feel the heat in my ear. And quot, Colette, I need you to listen to me, and quot. Merrick's voice breaks into my mind. And quot, focus on my voice, little mate, and quot. I whimper as a spear breaks through my mother's chest, and she cries out my name. I fight as hard as I can, the branches growing tighter. And quot, no, no, and quot. I thrash, not caring about the pain that seems to grow more prominent in my leg and spreads through the rest of my B*die. And quot, look at me, Mom, it's okay, you are going to be okay. And quot, I lie and whimper as she slumps forward, and then her B*die disappears, gone in a second, and I blink, my tears ceasing as I stare at the figures before me with red eyes. They watch me, my B*die shivering despite the warmth at my back. And quot, are you back? And quot, Merrick whispers. And quot, are you with me? And quot, I crumble in his arms, my head pounding and my leg searing in pain as he takes a step back, dragging me along with him. He lifts me into his arms, and quot, kill them if they step a damn foot over that line. And quot, he growls as he carries me away quickly. And quot, Merrick, and quot, I croak, my voice raw and painful. And quot, what happened? And quot, I was hoping you could tell me. And quot,
Chapter 13.
he answers in a clipped
Merrick
tone. POV. Colette shivers as I set her on the bed, rushing around to grab her dry clothes and a towel. She is catatonic, sitting on the edge, staring out the window. I don't know how to help her, how to comfort her as I WRA and quot, Colette, and quot, I say, trying to get her to wake up from this shell shock. But she doesn't move, not a damn inch, as she stares into a void beyond me. My lycan whines in my head, teetering between anger and worry and quat, Colette, and quat. I growl, my voice is louder, more stern, as she just stares into nothing, past my head. My fingers tickle along her jawbone, trying to force her to look up at me. She follows my movements, but her eyes at my NCK, and anger rises, boiling over when she turns her head away from me. And quat, Colette, and quat. I scream, using my alpha voice to command her back to the present. She jumps in fear, a gasp escaping her lips as looks at me completely broken. I have no idea what happened in her head. What lol. Merrick, and quat, she whimpers, her voice small and cracking with emotion. Shit, I may have been better off with her being lost in her own head rather than watching her hurt like this. And quat, what were you thinking? And quat, I ask her, my voice clipped. And quat, I wasn't. And quat, clearly not. You made me a promise. We had an agreement. We are mates now. You cannot escape it. Yet I find you at the border edge, trying to break free of Percy and Penny when they tried to stop you. My anger is unreasonable, and I know I should step back and give her space, but my lycan's intense emotions are melding with mine, and the strength of the second chance mate bond only grows stronger every day I am near her. The draw to her is becoming mind-numbing, and the thought she would leave me, that she might have wanted to escape me and her promise. Like law. And quat, I'm sorry. And quat, she whispers, and I sneer at her. I'm a wreck and feel like I'm losing control as I tear away from her and fly out the door, ready to F-King tear Penny and Percy apart for letting her get so far. I stop at the door, exhaling sharply. And quat, get changed. I will be back. And quat, I mutter as I slam out of the room and down the hall. As expected, I find Percy and Penny in my office waiting for me, along with Hayes. All of them wearing sullen looks on their faces as the door crashes open and I pace to the massive window overlooking the Laher. The very F-King spot I noticed her splashing into the water with. That F-King green orb looming over her frantic movements. The thoughts of it have my heckles rising as I growl in my chest and shake my head. And quat, where the fuck were you two? And quat, I hiss, whipping around to face them, figuring concentrating my anger on a source other than Colette might be best. And quat, she was sleeping. And quat, Penny says like it matters. And quat, oh, so she is less important to me to the pack when she is sleeping. And quat, I grit out. Her eyebrows shoot up in shock, and her mouth falls open to retort, but Percy beats her to it. And quat, that's not what she meant. And quat, Percy says. And quat, shut up, Percy. And quat, I shoot him a scowl and he swallows down, casting his eyes. And quat, you have one job. The both of you. What is your F-King job? And quat, protect her. And quat, they say in unison, looking at each other before looking back at the ground. It doesn't matter if they are still in training or not. A gamma protects their Luna. And they failed. And quat, would either of you like to enlighten me on what the hell happened and how she ended up in the F-King Lake being chased by the green, glowing little light? And quat, it's my fault. And quat, Penny whispers after a tense moment of silence. And quat, and how, exactly, is it your fault? And quat, I ask, hoping for some damn insight. And quat, I left her window open. She asked for me to leave it open as she likes to listen to the waves. I know I shouldn't have, but And quat, there are no waves to listen to on the lake late at night with zero wind. And quat, I sigh, pinching the bridge of my nose. Then I freeze, my eyes snapping to Hayes, who looks like he is coming to the same conclusion. And quat, those F-king spelling weaving dicks. And quat, Hayes grits out, slamming his fist onto my desk. And quat, now the red-eyed wolves on the border make sense. And quat, I groan heavily. Guilt hammering into me for losing my temper with Colette. This wasn't her fault. No, this was an oversight on my part, one that will never happen again. And quat, they targeted her. And quat, Percy says. And quat, is it another ploy to get to you? Or is it Colette they really want? And quat, both of you. Leave. Percy, scrounge up some food and hot tea for her. Penny, make sure she is getting changed and warm. I'll be there to speak with her soon. And quat, Percy and Penny leave without another word. And Hayes saunters over to my side. And quat, this isn't just them trying to get to you. It's more, and I think you know that. And quat, they don't know shit. And quat, I grit out. And quat, they do not know who she is. They can't. And quat, silence falls over us as I stare out the window again, my anger slowly fading and regret seeps in and taking over. And quat, Colette wasn't trying to run away. Merrick, and quat, Hayes whispers, but I pretend not to hear him. He doesn't understand how much I needed to hear him say those words. It doesn't matter how illogical the thought were and baiting me every second. And quat, okay, and quat, I say, clearing my throat. And quat, why the hell are you still here? And quat, he asks, sounding more annoyed. And quat, what? And quat, someone broke into her dreams and lure her into danger. Who knows what they put in her mind, what horrors she saw. She needs you to comfort her. And quat, Hayes says, scoffing at me. And quat, get your ass out of here, I hate when Hayes is right. And lately it's annoyingly more frequent than I care to admit. I try to imagine what to say as I make my way to her room. What if she has fallen asleep already? I'll have to wake her up to check on her. Or come back tomorrow. Then again, maybe she is afraid to sleep. She looked ragged, almost hollow, when she was staring off into space. What if they got her in her mind? What if they broke her? It doesn't take long for me to make it to her room, yet I find myself unable to enter. So instead one linger outside her door, looking for the right way to enter before Percy exits. He looks at me a little shocked before she freezes, her eyes wide, not with shock, but with fear. Fear of me, and I hate the damn feeling. Colette watches me for a moment, then I observe her shoulders as they drop and her face becomes sullen, like may not. Without wasting a moment, I make up my mind and cross the room, moving straight for the bed. She realizes it yet, but she needs me here as much as I need to be near her, so I crawl under the blankets, pulling them up as I sit with my back against the headboard. Colette blinks, a look of bewilderment on her face as she studies me. A frown tugs at my lips, and I sigh heavily. This is why it is so hard to be nice. Because when I am nice, people are too shocked to move, apparently. And quat, what are you doing? And quat, she finally asks, and I quirk a brow. And quat, I am making sure you don't go for a swim again. And quat, is that what it was? And quat, she whispers, moving closer, stopping at the foot of the bed. I pat the mattress with my hand, beckoning her to come crawl in next to me. And quat, we have slept in the same bed before, Colette, and quat, and quat. That was because you didn't have anywhere else to sleep, and quat, and quat. We are mates, and quat, and quat. But you haven't wanted to sleep in here with me before now. And quat, and quat. I am worried about your safety now. I am a light sleeper, so if you get up to sleepwalk again, I will feel you move and wake you up or restrain you. And quat. She reluctantly crawls into the bed next to me, staring awkwardly forward as she twiddles her thumb, and we are encased in uncomfortable silence. And quat. What happened to me? And quat. She finally whispers as her voice cracks. And quat. Was any of it real? The things in my dream. And quat. My chest aches. Hearing the pain in her voice, the way she seems to be so confused and hurt rolled into one small person. And quat. You were manipulated. And quat. I say, watching her every breath and muscle twitch as she tries to understand. And quat. How? And quat. And quat. A weaver. They are rare and wreak havoc in memories or dreams when their victim sleeps, and quat. She looks at me, chewing her inner cheek as she process. And quat. How did they get to me? I mean, do they have to have something like my hair or blood for that? And quat. She asks, and I try to bite back a smile. She's damn cute making assumptions about the magical beings like they cook up these spells over a cauldron, and quat. Sounds, and quat. I say simply. And quat. They embed the spell into sounds that we find calming. For you, the waves breaking on the shore, even though the waves aren't large enough for you to truly hear that kind of sound with her eyes grow big, as if she is having a moment of enlightenment. And quat. It's because I slept with the window open. And quat. That is how they got to you, yes. We will discuss this more in the morning if you'd prefer. Your eyes are already half closed and I am sure all this has been taxing. She grows pale and shakes her head. And quat. I don't want to sleep ever again. And quat. And quat. You are safe here with me, and quat. I whisper, reaching out and taking her hand. She shivers at the contact and gazes at me, words on the tip of her tongue, but she frowns instead. And quat. What if I try to run off? And quat. She murmurs. And quat. I'll hold you, and quat. I shrug. And quat. What if I kick and bite and scream? And quat. She whispers, tears welling in her eyes. And quat. I'll hold on tighter, and quat. She nods her head before she sinks deeper into the bed, her eyes on me as she pauses and exhales shakily. And quat. Will you hold me now? And quat. She barely utters the words, but my heart races, my chest aching painfully as my lungs struggle for air. She wants me to hold her now, to comfort her now. And quat. Would it help you? And quat. I ask her, my throat parched and my tongue darting out to wet my lips. She nods and I move down, my arm sliding under her head with the other snaking over her waist, tucking her close. Colette stares at me for a little while as her eyes grow heavier by the second, the mate bond working to calm her. I take the time to memorize every single little perfect imperfection she may have, committing it. She sighs in content before snuggling in closer and I watch her as if in a daydream as she lifts her head and gently, her plush lips pressed to the corner of my mouth before she closes her eyes and falls asleep. Chapter 14. And quat. Colette POV. I rub my eyes, certain I must be going crazy as I peek and see Merrick's sleeping form. He stayed here. I thought he would leave after I fell asleep. Not that he isn't a man of his words, but he is a busy man. Low. I press my lips together nervously, looking over his slightly stubbly cheeks and the way his lips are pursed open slightly, a soft whistling nose filling the room with every exhale. He is snoring, lightly and somehow to understand when the hell I would ever consider snoring of any kind SXY. Is that the mate bond? Working to make me want him more until I just eventually give in. I gently move closer, my fingers reaching out and hovering over his face as I frame his cheeks with my hands, being careful not to wake him. And quat, you are staring, and quat, he says in a low husky voice that makes me reel back in shock, rolling away and nearly flying off the bed. His arm wraps around my waist, yanking me back as I twist, and he rises onto his L and quat, sorry, and quat, I mumble, my eyes skirting to his lips, where I watch a small smirk appear. I look away, toward the window, and fake a yawn. And quat, I guess it's morning, and quat, and quat, and quat, he affirms with a vibrating hum and I fight back a shiver, and quat, we should get up, and quat, I say, though it lacks confidence. And quat, should we? Do you have plans I don't know about? And quat, he asks me and I chuckle. And quat, yes, with all my friends I have here, and quat, I say and slap my hand over my mouth. It came out snarkier than I've ever spoken before, but instead of being upset, he just smirks. And quat, apparently, along with your strength coming back, so is your sass. I imagine you've been holding it in for years, and quat, he's not wrong. I look at him, worried, and he just shakes his head. And quat, sass me all you want, Colette. I find it endearing, and quat, for now, and quat, I snort and he sits up, rolling from the bed. And quat, come? Let's get some breakfast. And quat, he says, looking over his shoulder. And quat, like, eat with you, and quat, I ask, taken aback. Merrick turns to face me with an air of amusement. And quat, as opposed to what? Eating you, and quat, he asks and my face flames in embarrassment. And quat, I didn't mean it like that, and quat, I rush out and his smile grows wider. I see the twinkle in his eye, the pleasure he is getting from my heated skin and inability to look him in the face. Oh, he knows what I meant, unless he doesn't, and I'm just a dirty-minded girl. I've never let my mind wander to such places before and here I am. And quat, let's get breakfast and maybe you could recount what happened last night. The more we know, the more we can try to figure out what they are after. And quat, he mutters, moving toward the door. I scramble out of the and quat, what do you usually eat for breakfast? And quat, he asks as we leave the room and I furrow my brows, looking up at him. And quat, I don't usually eat breakfast, and quat, coffee then, and quat, he says, but I can hear his disappointment. And quat, iced coffee, and quat, I smile at him, and he grins, looking pleased. I don't dare tell him I drink it iced because it was always the day-old coffee that I would sneak before the kitchen maids would empty the pot each night. Iced coffee is iced coffee, so why should he care? It wasn't fresh or actually was more room temperature. And quat, the cooks will have a spread of food for you to choose from, and quat, he says after a moment and I can only assume he mind-linked everyone. And quat, when will I have the mind link? And quat, I ask, and he tucks his hands into his sweatpants pockets. And quat, after we mate, fully. Your wolf acknowledges me as its alpha right now. And this as its pack, But you have not been formally accepted or presented yet, and quat, he says, and I can feel the weight of his eyes on me, try reaction. I hide the hurt well, though. He still hasn't presented me to his pack yet. Merrick claims to want me. He is kind and attentive and holds my hand through every grudgingly slow training session I have. Yet he still hides me away from everyone else. It is feeling more and more like I am his dirty little secret, and that's not a feeling I am keen on. The thought of him having a true Luna elsewhere creeps into the back of my mind, and I try to shove it down. When I feel a tug on my hand and I glance to see his fingers wrapping around mine, my eyebrows shoot up as I glance at him, my mouth agape. But he isn't watching me, he is instead leading me gently as he looks down the hallway we are venturing. The moment is sweet, and my stomach have joined a gymnastics team as it does its own floor routine inside me. My heart races and I give his warm hand a gentle squeeze. Not one that is entirely noticeable, but one that says I like the touch. Because I do. I feel safer when I can feel him, or be near him, especially after last night. The smell of bacon hits my nostrils and my mouth suddenly fills with saliva, the drool reminding me just how hungry I am, and then my stomach releases a feral cry for food and Merrick chuckles to himself, pleased. And quat. Looks like we made it just in time. Any longer, and it sounds like your stomach would have tried to eat me. And quat. He wears a mischievous grin on his perfect lips and I bite back a laugh. He is right. Any longer and I may have gnawed on him. As we enter the massive kitchen, I see the display of nearly every breakfast dish I can name, and I lick my lips. If she finally get to try all these things I have watched Leslie enjoy and taunt me with since I can remember, could see me now, she would be damn livid. And that though, and quat, grab a plate and take what you want, and quat, Merrick says, and suddenly I'm stuck, rooted to the ground as my die nearly recoils at the thought of breaking the rules. Breakfast isn't for people like me. I want to try everything that was prepared, but the thought of eating it brings back the memories of my maid training. The discipline I was told from a young age I had to learn. I was lowlier even compared to them. Merrick ushers me to the dining room table before he maneuvers around my chair and loads up one plate, laying it before me. Then he grabs his own and sits next to me. And quat, eat, and quat, he says, pushing a fork into my hand as I look at him. All the memories of the painful beatings, the way my fingers ache in memory of being rapped on the knuckles for trying to eat when I hadn't been told. Colette, please cat, and quat, he says, and I look up at him, a concerned frown on his lips as he stands at the counter, paused. And quat, you need your strength, and quat, and quat. Okay, and quat. I smile, but it falters when I look back at the plate. So instead of looking at the food, I close my eyes and shovel whatever I get on my fork into my mouth and I moan. The hash browns mixed with the perfectly seasoned and fluffy eggs taste like heaven as I chew and swallow, opening my eyes and pushing more in. Merrick sits across from me chuckling as he drops an iced coffee before me. I tilt my head, looking at it as he watches me closely, and I hesitantly reach out and take a sip. And quat, holy shit, and quat, I mutter, slurping more of it down. And quat, what is this? It's so good, and quat, iced coffee, and quat. He looks at me confused. And quat, do you just drink iced black coffee? And quat, I nod, and he snorts. And quat, are you a serial killer? Iced coffee should be flavored. And quat, I wasn't and quat. Aloud. I'm seeing our trend here, and quat, he murmurs, leaning forward and resting his elbows on the table, his eyes glued to me. But I can't find the will to care as I set up a routine of scooping up food, then sucking coffee. And quat. Can I ask you some questions about last night? And quat, he asks finally, and I slide my eyes in his direction. And quat. Feed me like this and I will tell you anything you want to hear. And quat. I murmur and he grins. And quat. Now tell me, what was your dream about? And quat, he asks. My movements freeze and I sit back from my plate, looking out the window with a heavy sigh. And quat. It's the same nightmare I always have. Well, kind of. It's a little different from before. And quat. What was different? And quat. She spoke in this one. And quat. I murmur, her words echoing in my head, the clarity and fear in the words. It was her voice, the mother I could never remember. His brow pinch above his nose and he hums in question. And quat. What did she say? And quat. He asks softly. I press back into my seat, watching him before deciding I trust him. I don't know him well, but I trust him nonetheless. And quat. She told me to stay, that they would be there soon, and quat. But she has never mentioned that part before. And quat. He asks, frowning, and I nod. And quat. She would say it, I think, but it was always silent. My dreams. More like she was mouthing the and quat. That is interesting. And quat, Merrick says, getting lost in his thoughts. Before he shakes his head in thought and takes a sip of his hot coffee. And quat, did she say his name? Anything to help identify him? And quat, no. And quat, I frown. And quat, just that he would be there soon. Then the green orb showed up and chased me into the water. And quat, did it hurt you? And quat, he asks. And quat, I saw you from my office window and you looked. And quat, he pauses, clearing his throat, and with the sound his face changes from distant to reserved. And quat, you looked very distressed. And quat. Yeah, it spoke to me, too. And quat, I whisper. A shiver rolls through me at the memory. The voice telling me she needs me. That I need to hurry. His brows rise in surprise. And quat. It did. What did it say? And quat. That I needed to go to her. That my mom needed me. And quat. Did you save her? In your dream? And quat, he asks softly, and I bite my lip, looking down at the plate, dragging my fork over the eggs. And quat, no. I watched her die. And quat, my voice cracks and his war hand covers mine. And quat, I've never seen that part before. And quat, weavers can morph your dreams to fit what they want. But there are clues, little ways to tell what is out of the ordinary. And quat, like what? And quat, I ask, peeking up at him. The image of her dying in front of me won't ever go away, but if there is a chance I don't have to see it again, that this nightmare wasn't originally mine, then I will cling to that tiny bit of hope. And quat, voices that aren't meant to speak sound tinny, like someone is talking through a metal can, and images have a distorted outline, not too distinguishable but enough to make the figure look almost of focus. And quat, my mouth goes dry, my stomach heavy, and I stop playing with my food. The green orb's voice was most definitely different, sounding like someone was hollering into a tin can. But my mom Watching her being, there was no distortion on that. My brows furrow and the corner of lips tug down in a frown. And quat. And if the things I saw weren't distorted, is it possible they are still fake? And quat. I ask in a soft whisper. And quat. No, and quat, he says, but I don't see him. I can't focus on his face, then my eyes are blurring with tears. And quat. Is there a way to tell if it's just a nightmare or memories? And quat. I ask, looking up and meeting his guarded eyes. And quat. Only you can determine that. And quat. And quat. How? And quat. And quat. Sometimes there are things we just know. We can feel it in our guts, but we can't explain it. This is one of those times to trust your gut. Colette. And quat. The tears break free, strolling down my face as I bite back a sob. Every fiber of my being is telling me I know the truth. I know the parts that are real and made up. And what I think I know 15. Is that I witnessed my murder. Quat. Colette. And quat. Merrick calls out to me, concerned. I give him the best fake smile I can muster. I can tell he isn't falling for it. The fake grin to hide the pain that was creeping in and taking over my heart. He stands suddenly, reaching down and pulling me up into a warm, comforting embrace. My hands instinctively slide up his back, cradling his shoulders as my grip grows tighter. The replay of my mother's death in my dream plays on a loop in my mind. I wince every time I see it pierce through her, and he holds me closer. I didn't even realize the silent tears had turned to sobs as he strokes my hair and hums in my ear to calm me. I don't want to let go, to pull away from him, but after what feels like a long time, I wrap my arms around his waist and press my cheek to his chest with a heavy sigh. And quat. Are you going to be okay? And quat. He asks. His voice is so tender and full of worry, and I feel the urge to look up at him. The need to see his green eyes and witness his gentle smile is too much to fight right now. For a man of so much death and destruct. And quat. Yeah, I don't really have any other options. And quat. I sigh. And quat. Has anyone ever told you how beautiful you are? And quat. He asks, looking over my face from feature to feature. My usual blush creeps up my NCK and seeps into my cheeks as they grow warm. He seems to melt int. Thanks, I murmur, stepping out of his embrace. I think. And quat. And quat. You are so much stronger than you realize. There is so much in you that you still don't see. And quat. And quat. And what is it you see in me? And quat. I ask him. His demeanor shifts slightly, his expression shutting down and going stoic as he seems to think about the question. And quat. What I see in you is a way forward, Colette. And quat. He says. And quat. I see the future of this pack and it all is riding on you. And quat. I scoff and roll my eyes. And quat. Now I know you are lying. What kind of future or way forward can I bring? You are mistaken. And quat. And quat. Not about this. And quat. He says, a small smile cracking through his cool demeanor. His compliments confuse me. The words he speaks seem like they have hidden meaning. Yet, I can't find it. Instead, I'm just left feeling confused and a lot more drawn to him. He reaches for my iced coffee and hands it to me with an indecipherable look. And quat. I think you would really benefit from a visit to the healing waters today. And quat. He announces. And quat. But I am healing fine. Actually, better than fine. I am healing faster than anyone else I've ever known now that the poison from Leslie is out of my system. The healers say my leg can handle being walked now a couple of days. And quat. You still think it was her poisoning? You, don't you? And quat, he asks, and I scrunch my nose. And quat. I mean, of course I do. What other reason would it be? I've not thought up a more valid reason. Can you? And quat, I ask, and he shrugs. And quat, I'm sure there are many other logical reasons, but that is beside the point. The healing waters will ease your mind in a way that your wolf can't. The aromatics from the herbs and oils, along with the warm weight. I think about what he says, remembering the lake and how cold it is. But then I recall the steam from his bath and how he just mentioned warm water, and suddenly the whole idea sounds appealing. And quat, do I have to be an asterisk kid? And quat, I ask, arching a brow, and he looks at me like I'm crazy. And quat, I wasn't an asterisk kid the time you barged in on me in the waters. And quat, he teases, and I click my tongue. And quat, excuse me, I just wanted to help you. And quat, I protest, and he just shakes his head in amusement. And quat, and help you did. And quat, he gives a small bow in appreciation, and I try to fight the growing grin. And quat, fine. And quat, I roll my eyes playfully, giving in to him. And quat, I will go to the healing waters. Happy? And quat, very much. And quat, he nods, a glint in his eyes. And quat, I will have someone pull it together for you. And quat, can I take it later tonight? Bathing now feels a little useless before a workout. I want to train today, and then I will take one. And quat, you are sounding like a loner with those demands. And quat, he bites back a pleased smirk. And quat, I feel more comfortable, I guess. And quat, I shrug, and he laughs. And quat, with me or the pack? And quat, he asks. And quat, both, actually. And quat, I admit, and he exhales with a nod. And quat, fine. If you feel you are ready to train today, then let's start now. And quat, my muscles scream out in total agony, my mind mush and my B** dye covered in sweat. Merrick follows behind me, and I swear I can feel him trying to hold his laughter in. Here I thought we would continue our us. And quat, what the hell was that? And quat, I ask him with narrowed eyes. Merrick just looks at me with a barely there smug smirk before looking away quickly. He is enjoying this all way too much. And quat, your next level of training. You were saying you are healing faster, so why not step up the training a little faster as well? And quat, yeah, remind me to not speak out of turn. Apparently, all I do is put my foot in my damn mouth. And quat, I grumble, and he breaks into a laugh that feeds the very core of me, making my whole B** dye heat. My legs feel like jello, and my lungs are searing from the workout they were given as well. I look over my shoulder and watch him. I am in complete awe of how he would ever need a second chance, mate. The rumor for so long had been that she rejected him because of his scarred face. Yet here I am, watching the most handsome being I have ever laid eyes on laugh like an angel. He may be one of death, but the fact remains. He is unearthly beautiful, and more so when he smiles. Rick, why did your mate reject you? And quat, I ask him, and he freezes, his entire B** dye rigid and his eyes near dead. The transformation from warm and laughing alpha to cold and murderous is so fast I nearly get whipler. And quat, I don't want to talk about her. And quat, he snaps as he pushes past me. And quat, why not? If you have a new mate, shouldn't You be over your last one? And quat, I ask, and he takes 2 large steps, overtaking me as he grips my elbow. And quat, it is none of your business. And quat, he grits out before yanking his arm away and recoiling back from me. And quat, make sure you go to the healing waters after this. I will be late to the room tonight. And quat, then he pushes past me, leaving me behind to gape and wonder what the hell just happened. When I make it into the pack house, Penny finds me and gives over my shoulder to someone behind me. I glance back to see Percy nod back to her as he takes off. And quat, has he been stalking me all day? And quat, I ask, and she grins. And quat, oh, for sure. I keep telling him that stalking women is a terrible habit, but what can I do? Creeps are gonna creep. And quat, oh, I can't wait to tell him you said that. And quat, I chuckle and she shrugs. And quat, he will never believe you. And quat, she winks, falling in step beside me. We walk for a moment in comfortable silence as I contemplate asking her the question the Merrick shut down so angrily. Then I realize I have a right to know. It's part of this pack's history and I am supposedly this pack's future. How? And quat, Penny, and quat, yes, and quat. If I ask you questions, do you have to answer me? And quat, I ask tentatively. She looks at me, confused. And quat, I guess it depends on the question and how it's important to you. And quat, I want to know about Merrick's ex-mate. And quat, I tread lightly with my words, looking around and waiting for a backlash. Instead, she throws her hands up with an exasperated sigh. And quat, well, it's about damn time. And quat, she says. And quat, wait, what? And quat, I've been dying to tell you, but you had to ask me first. Let me know you are serious about being Alpha's new mate and our Luna. And quat, okay. And quat, I say, not bothering to think much about what she says. I have questions and I want answers. And quat, so, what is her name? And quat, oh, you mean was? And quat, she quirks a brow. And quat, was, as in, she is dead. And quat, I ask and she grins, nodding yes. And quat, like damn dead. Lauren lost her head. Kind of dead. She dead. And quat, she says in a creepy way, too happy about it, upbeat voice. And quat, okay, she's dead, but how? And quat, I ask and she looks away for a second. And quat, you can't freak out until I tell you the entire story. Okay, promise. And quat, well, that's already not a great start. And quat, I admit. Anxiety squeezing my insides like it's an orange in a juice factory. And quat, yeah, well, it's obviously not a fairy tale considering her current location. And quat, she chuckles. I look at her weirdly and she grins, then rolls her eyes. And quat, because she is 6 feet under. Pushing up. Daisies. Yeesh, slow on the uptake today. Luna Letty. And quat, she mutters. And quat, it's a little weird how excited her death makes you. And quat, if Alpha weren't so hurt by it all, everyone would react like this. Lauren deserved her ending. And quat, and yet you still tell me nothing. And quat, I remind her. And quat, okay. And quat, she sighs, peeking around the hall as we get closer to the room. And quat, Lauren grew up here, everyone. Sort of, well, She wasn't everyone's favorite pack member, but when they realized they were mates, it didn't matter and it seemed like she changed. Truly changed, unquote. What happened, unquote. She was a spy, unquote. Penny says, a cloud of anger hovering around her now. She is hiding behind her jokes, but I can feel how much she truly detested the Luna before me. I give her an incredulous look. Unquote. A spy. For who? The rogues, unquote. Worse, unquote. She grins, waiting for me to guess. I swallow, not wanting to look like an idiot, as I rack my brain for a good guess. Unquote. The why unquote. Vampires, unquote. She cuts me off and I say it with her like it was totally my guess too. Then my eyes nearly bulge from my head. Unquote. What? Unquote. I cry out loud. And she slaps her hand over my mouth, shoving me into the room. Unquote. The vampires. Damn. Why are you so surprised? They are the most backstabby supernatural being there are, unquote. Right? Obviously, unquote. I try to play along. It's not like I didn't know they existed. Except that's sort of exactly what I thought. Like I know, Merrick has said that there are other supernatural beings out there, but that was early in our relationship. I couldn't, joking or not. Unquote. She wasn't just giving them information, but as Luna, she was able to invite them into pack grounds in the middle of the night. We didn't just lose 12 warriors to one vampire. We lost our former alpha. Merrick and Beta Hayes' dad. They found Lauren talking with the vampire in question about where to find Merrick to kill him next over his father's blood. Let be asterisk die. Unquote. My heart feels like it's in a vice grip and I clutch my chest, hoping to relieve some of the tension there. Unquote. So he killed her, unquote. I whisper, and I find I can't blame him. I would have done the same thing without her. Second thought. Unquote. No, unquote. She shakes her head. Unquote. He had a public execution and had her beheaded. Unquote. The blood drains from my face, but not because of how he executed her or that he sentenced her to death and watched it, but at how much it must have hurt him and his lycan to watch his mate die, to be the one to order it before his whole pack. Acknowledging he was wrong to choose her. His wrong choice led to a devastating loss. No wonder he doesn't want to announce me to the pack yet. Holy crap. No wonder he chose me. I am too weak to do anything like that and get away with it. He chose the weakest option, with no ties to anyone, desire to find his second chance mate. How could he ever trust someone when the mate bond blinds him? Chapter 16. Steam rolls off the glistening pool, beautiful purple petals dotting the surface with sprigs of lavender and other various herbs melding together to make the perfect recipe for calm and healing. It smells amazing. Unquote. It feels amazing, doesn't it? The air, unquote, Penny says, releasing a satisfied groan. Then, she moves around me with a plush navy robe and a set of slippers. She sets them on a chair near the steps of the water. Are much, unquote. Is everyone allowed to use them? Unquote. I ask her, and she shakes her head. Unquote. Yes, but this one is for the Alpha family's personal use. We all have one in our own homes, but without all the marble and ornate gold displays. Also, much smaller, like 10-person bath, not 200-person pool. Unquote. She gives me an amused wink. Unquote. I see. Unquote. I mutter, moving over to the chair and slipping off my shoes. Penny apparently figured out my clothing size and sorted out a bikini for me. Not that I'm not grateful, but this might be more revealing than the underwear I own. I'm not quite comfortable in my skin, so I wait for her to give me a nod as I release a nervous sigh and undress down to my suit before taking one last look at the untouched water. It's amazing how much it just looks like it will heal me. So I step in, dipping my toes into it first as heat S and quat, healing water, my ass, and quat. I mutter to myself, and quat, more like boiled Colette's soup with how hot that is, and quat. I bite my bottom lip, groaning in lead up before I gently step down onto the first step, holding my breath to keep from letting out a squeal. The liquid burns my skin, the oils and herbs latching onto my flesh as I step down one more and then another, until I am fully in the pool. I bend my knees, allowing the water up to my NCK as I exhale in relief. Every achi muscle seems to meld with the water, feeling like it is just an extension of me. It almost tickles, the way it swirls around my skin and draws out my pain with something as simple as heat and medic herbs. I reach up and pull my hair out of its elastic band and tilt my head back, submerging it up to my hairline as a satisfied gasp dances past my lips and I smile. My wolf is happy. Each moment leads to more relaxer washes away. For a second I feel the pull to put my head under the water, but my stomach tightens in fear and I decide to give myself a little more time. The last time my head was fully submerged was in my nightmare state. At least not at this precise moment. Instead, I move to the stairs and sit, resting my head on one of the upper steps as a sort of anchor, then I allow my B** die to float up. My B** die is weightless, my mind free as my eyes fall closed and my wolf pran since being here, since losing Grady, she has done nothing but hide. Only doing what she must to keep me aware of her presence. It felt like we were no longer in sync. Well, for years really. But now, she has allowed me back in. Her presence growing stronger by the second. And my heart and soul feel at ease. I hum in the large room, my voice echoing back to me. I've never had an affinity for music, but it feels natural to sing when you are at peace and right. Now is the most at peace I have ever been. My mind wanders many places, from the dream to my terrible past and back to the present where I am. Then suddenly, I am suffocating. I sit up, my hand on my throat as I choke on the air, looking around frantically, watching as the room fades away and I am back in the swamp. I can feel where I am, my hands and legs wet and warm grounding me in knowing I am still physically in the healing waters. But mentally, visually, I am lost and scared. I drop low, there are no green orbs, no other person other than me, and a voice. Her voice. Then she appears and I watch as my mom takes a seat and rests her head back, closing her eyes and she sings. And quote. A longing for the tales, one of legends told. I'll sing to you, my love, in the ways of the old. For when a mate cries out in the dark, the other must always heed, the one singular cry in their time of need. So come to me, my love, come complete your soul. Your mate is calling you home. Your mate is calling you home. And quote. My heart aches at the sadness in her tone. The way the words break her heart, and I watch as tears stream down her face. I reach out. Remembering this is all in my mind. Her eyes turn to me. Distant at first, my knees go weak and I fall. My head plunging into the wetness and my B** die jolts. The image of my dying mother bleeds from my mind like a memory fading, the thought gone even as I try to conjure it back. And I find myself in the darkness before I find my footing. I open my eyes, blinking at the steam, my consciousness back in the now. The words of her song resound in my mind. That was no dream, but a memory, one. The waters pulled from me. How? I don't know how, but I know it to be the truth. I can feel it. The past has always been hidden from me, shrouded in despair and darkness. No matter how hard I tried, I could remember nothing from before being in the pack. But now I have a voice. An image I thought was made up or thought was just a nightmare. And now I have a song. Her song, my mom's song, and I know where I got my singing voice. I smile to myself, because she sure as shit wasn't phenomenal. That fear I held, the one of the water, is replaced with a reverence. This is where I found her again, where my soul felt comfortable enough to open up and allow little bits of me to seep out. I close my eyes, a smile on my lips as I head to the steps again, and sit. I never want to leave this room. It feels sacred now, like a connection between what was lost and what I now have. A bridge from my pa. The words to her song tumble out of me, echoing through the room as it makes me feel closer to her. I sing it on repeat, familiarizing myself with the tune she used and the words I heard, refusing to forget them. My voice echoes off the walls, bouncing back to me, and the water around me moves with the vibrations as if it's dancing to my words. Then I feel a shift. My eyes snap open, squealing out in shock as leaning and quat. Where did you come from? And quat? I ask, clutching my chest. He looks pained as he moves closer, like he was injured, and is seeking healing, but from me. And quat, don't stop singing, and quat, he says, his voice a husky whisper as he continues to stalk me down like prey. I furrow my brow, confused, but I repeat the words, slowly and softly. Merrick reaches under the water, finding my hand as he pulls me up and drags my B** die flush to his. He holds me, looking down at me with lust-filled eyes. I finish the verse, unsure if I should continue again. So instead, I hum the tune and he leans down, pressing his forehead to mine. Merrick inhales deeply, consuming my scent as he groans in satisfaction. And quat, I am sorry for being a jackass. And quat, he mutters. And quat, forgive me. And quat, his apology catches me off guard, and I pull back, looking up into his sincere face. He looks distraught, like someone died, and worry leeches into me. I slide my hand up his NCK, cupping his cheek. And quat, I shouldn't have asked about her. And quat, I breathe. He shudders as the sparks seem to whiz through us, weak still, but growing stronger. I force him to look at me, but his eyes fall to my lips before coming back to my eyes. I stare at his green, watching the desire and unbridled lust that stir there. It nearly bowls me over to see it, to think he could want me, and my B** die burns in places I've never felt before. And quat, I want to K** you, Colette. And quat, he admits, the tip of his nose teasing mine and then nudging my cheek. And quat, what's stopping you? And quat, I ask, feeling bold as my heart nearly pops out of my chest. He freezes, eyes boring into me, searching for any resistance on my end, resistance he won't find because I want this. I want his lips against mine and his undivided attention. So after a mere second, Merrick closes the distance, his lips pressing against mine. And quat, Merrick POV. My B** die vibrates with her touch, my lycan damn near purring as her soft lips move against mine. It's like the celebration dinner all over again, my B** die giving in. Where I know I should pull back, but I can't. Not when I am forever wrapped up in everything. Colette. Her hands are warm from the water as they glide up my heaving chest, wrapping around my NCK. My B** die shivers under her touch and IK** her deeper, unable to breathe the air around me. Only her. My hand tangles in her wet hair as I tilt her chin up, giving me better access to explore her mouth. My other hand slides down her wet back, my thumb looping into the back of her bikini bottoms. The rest of my palm rests over the fabric. I crave grabbing a handful of her ass, dragging her B** up me and spreading her little legs around my waist. But Colette isn't someone you fling around, not like that. Not yet. She's a delicate flower, a water lily that needs time, and so long as this is what we do with that time, I can manage, for a short while. She moans as she tries to tug me closer, her B** rolling against mine with a delicious vibration that only serves the purpose of making everything harder. Like pulling away from her and, well, me, clearly. And quat, Colette, and quat, I murmur against her lips. She hums in acknowledgement and then she moves her head to my cheek, kissing my face before moving to my ear. Her breathing is like a feather over my ears and it makes me shiver as a hungry moan slip. I walk her back, trying to find something to press her against. I can't have her, not the way I crave, but I sure as shit can't stop this moment. Right now, it's the only thing keeping me breathing. The second I pull, a knock sounds at the door and ignore it. F***K them. I don't care who it is or what they want. Right now I'm servicing my queen. The knock grows louder and Colette must finally hear it as she tears away, covering her lips, and looking away. She is hiding again from me, her shell quickly coming back. And quat, what, and quat. I growl at the door. Whoever it is could have easily used the mind link, and quat, Alpha, I have come from the council with the official decision on your appeal. To and quat, yes, I will be with you in a moment. And quat, I grit out, taking a step away from Colette, who looks at me, lips parted and red. Her hair is a mess with her innocent eyes wide in shock, watching me. I tilt my head, drinking in the view. And quat, exquisite, and quat. I breathe. I reach out, cupping her cheek, dragging the pad of my thumb over her lips. And quat, I will see. You're tonight, and quat, I thought you said you would be working late, and quat, she murmurs in a daze. And quat, I move things around. And quat, I smile. And quat, you should get dressed and rest. The healing waters can only do so much, but you will still be sore tomorrow. And quat, she looks a little confused, tilting her head slightly, and I notice a hue of blue in her brown eyes I've never seen before. For a moment, I think she will say something, but she doesn't. Instead, she closes her mo. And quat, okay, I'll see you in a bit. And quat, she bites her lip as I turn toward the stairs. I stop for a moment before I turn back and drag her close, dropping a K* on her forehead. As much as I want to deny the pull to her, I can't. Be it the second chance bond or just who she is, I am falling hard without reservations. And quat, I'll see you soon. And quat, I sigh, releasing her and rushing out of the water. I move to the chair, grabbing my towel and changing my clothing, while Colette looks away, her innocence still intact, as I grin to myself, hoping she took a peek, all the while knowing she didn't. When I push out the door, I find the messenger from the council waiting for me. His Unnatural-looking silver hair flows down past his shoulders, dusting over his deep blue, double-breasted vest. At least they sent a messenger. Get along with. And quat, Ezra, and quat. I nod and he grins, walking next to me as we make our way to my office. And quat. Good to see you again. Alpha, and quat. He bows his head in respect and I sigh. And quat. I take it my appeal was once again rejected, and quat. I ask. And quat. Lost by one, and quat. He responds, a small smirk on his lips. I look at him, shocked. For years, I have repealed the ruling that landed our kind ostracized by the council. That protects their members and allows them ACC and quat. One, and quat. I ask, narrowing my eyes. And quat, who changed their mind, and quat, and quat. I am not allowed to share those details, Alpha. You know, the rules, and quat. He shrugs. And quat. Yeah, and quat. I grumble, running my hands through my hair. And quat. Yeah, I know the damn rules, and quat, and quat. If you had a Luna, it might change things, and quat. He says, looking at me, and I know he sees the redness of my lips from my time with Colette. And quat. Why? Would that make a difference? And quat. I ask, keeping my little Luna a secret from him for now. She is my secret weapon, one I am not ready to let the council know I have yet. And quat. They want proof that your kind has. And quat. He pauses, looking for the right word. And quat. A weakness. And quat. I scoff. And quat. I believe that is the word you are looking for. And quat. And quat. A weakness, and quat. He rears his head, sliding his hands into his matching blue pants. And quat. Interesting way to put it, Alpha. I was going to say anchor, someone to keep you grounded, to reach you when you are other WI unreachable. If you understand my meaning. And quat. And quat. I have seen how some of the council members treat their other halves. And quat. I frown. And quat. There is no grounding there. Just pure ownership and sexual drive. And quat. And quat. Ah, but their kind has not been kicked from the council, nor are they notorious for acting out before thinking. Your kind, however, and quat. He falls off, knowing I know where he is going. And I admit, he may have a point there. But I refuse to acknowledge that. I turn, pushing my office door open and motioning him to enter. He obliges me, and I see Hayes sitting in the corner with a grin on his FA. And quat. Is there a message you would like to relay to the council? And quat. Ezra asks. He pulls an envelope from the breast pocket, placing it on the desk, and I see the same seal I always do. And quat. I see Caspian is still the head of the council. And quat. I frown. The dickhead. Who keeps fighting me, even though our terms have been fulfilled and time served. He has it out for us, not that the feeling isn't mutual. And quat. He is, and quat. He watches me with a glimmer of amusement. And quat. You know the rules. He has some time left to be the leader, and quat, because he stole my kind's term. I should be at that seat. And quat. I growl low in my chest. And quat. Not some fish. Stick, asshole. And quat. If your kind had followed the laws, things would be very different. Alpha. But as it stands, your great-grandfather was not one for the rules, and the council fears the term has not yet been long enough for a lesson to her. And quat. That's bullshit. And quat. I hiss, hammer my fist on my desk. And quat. They all are hoping enough time passes to make us forget. They've abandoned us. And quat. and quat. I am merely a messenger, and quat. He frowns. Then he lays a separate note next to the one containing the refusal to let us back into the council. And quat. What is this? And quat. I ask, furrowing my brow as I grab it and tear it open. And quat. That I do not know. I only deliver the news. This was in my pile to deliver. And quat. And quat. Yet you knew what was in the first letter. And quat. Hayes reminds him and Ezra shrugs. And quat. I was given the details to share verbally, the other note. I know nothing about other than the destination. But now I must go before my portal closes. And quat. He says, checking the clock above my head. And quat. Thank you. And quat. I sigh. Even if he brings bad news, Ezra is easily the more respectful of the messengers. And quat. Always a pleasure, Alpha. Merrick, and quat. He gives a head bow and sees himself out. Hayes pops up, rushing over the desk like a hungry dog looking for a treat. And quat. Open the damn thing. I want to see what it says. And quat. And quat. Leave. And quat. I say, smirking. His face falls. And quat. What? And quat. And quat. No warning. About Ezra being here and you sent him to find me. And quat. I remind him, and he scoffs. And quat. I always do that with him. And quat. And quat. But it rarely interrupts things. And quat. I growl, my lycan. Coming forward to show him our displeasure. Shock gives way to amusement, and he laughs. And quat. Damn. So you put some moves on her in the healing waters? Very unoriginal, but it's a start. And quat. He teases and I scowl, sitting in my chair and pointing to the door. And quat. Oh, come on. It was an honest mistake. I didn't. And quat. Next time you do that, I will have you punished. And quat. I scowl at him. And quat. I swear on the heavens, never again. For a while. And quat. He grins and I roll my eyes, opening the letter, glancing down at the printed font on paper with only 3 lines. Keep your Luna close. She is the stuff of dreams, or nightmares. Can't wait to meet her at the council meeting. And quat. What the fuck? And quat. I mumble, my blood running cold as I read it again and again. Hayes takes it from my hand. His eyes snap up to mine. So the wolves, the stupid King dream weavers, and quat. And quat. Someone from the council knows more than they should. And quat. I mutter and he growls in anger. And quat. We have King traitor. And quat. He hisses, running his hands across his hair. Chapter 18. Colette POV. I watch Merrick as he works in his office, his head down and a frown on his lips. He has been like this since the night we KSSED in the healing waters. And that was just over 2 weeks ago. He snaps at everyone, especially Hayes, the two of them bickering back and forth under their breath as I try to tune them out and not listen. That would be an easy feat, maid pretending not to hear what they hear, but I'm not a maid like Merrick likes to remind me. Almost every day. I'm his Luna. So I listen. And quat. No luck finding the mole yet. And quat. I ask. Arching a brow. His eyes snap up, the speck of surprise melting away into an amused smile. And quat. And here I thought you were so enthralled in your books that you weren't listening. And quat. And quat. You enthrall me. And quat. I mutter, chewing the inside of my cheek shyly. He pushes away from his desk, then stands, all the while pinning me with his eyes as he stalks me down. Like prey, I remain still, like a deer in. And quat. I enthrall you. and quat. He stops at the foot of my comfy chair, and quat. It's a fun word, isn't it? And quat. I smile up at him innocently and I see him fighting back the playfulness he so rarely lets loose. Tell me, what is it about me enthralls you, my little Luna? And quat. He leans forward, his hands coming on either side of my ears, pressing into the back of the chair as his nose dances dangerously close to mine. It's already getting harder to breathe in his presence. Just being near him brings me a calm and a storm rolled into one. The safety net of his aura and the danger of my attraction to him. I'm falling hard and I have not the damnedest clue how to tell him I am ready for the next step without sounding like a wanton woman. I find myself unable to speak as he closes the distance and brushes his nose. My mouth runs dry and my eyes flutter closed, begging him to ** me again like he did when we were in the healing water. 2 weeks of pining for that touch, that passion, only to suffocate in this sexual tension that could easily snuff out the sun. And quat. I like you, Merrick, and quat. I rasp out and he tilts his head, surprised. And quat. You like me? And quat. He asks. And quat. I do, and quat. Ladmit. And quat. You mean you feel safe with me? And quat. He says as I watch him with a critical eye. And quat. No, I mean, I have feelings for you, and quat. I reiterate, and he seems skeptical. And quat. It's been 3 weeks, and quat, he states, and I roll my eyes. And quat. And for 2 of those 3 weeks you have slept next to me, held me when I had a nightmare and have stuck by my side. And quat. I pause. And quat. I don't want to leave. He freezes, blinking at me. And quat. You are sure? And quat. Your side? And quat. And quat. Yes. And quat. I chuckle, reaching up, only hesitating for a split second before I cup his cheek. And quat. I've lived more in these past 3 weeks than I ever did in my first 21 years. And quat. And quat. We will announce you to the pack tomorrow. And quat. He murmurs, a smile on his plump lips as he gently brushes them over mine. I gasp, my mouth tumbling open in hopes of a **. And quat. Tomorrow, and quat. I mutter, lost in the warmth of his breath as it teases over my skin. And quat. And then I will mark you, and make you mine, officially, and quat. He closes the distance, his mouth covering mine in a gentle **, much different from the one before. This one is restrained, much more controlled, and quat. Merrick, and quat, he says, out of breath, his eyes looking from me and then back to Merrick in alarm. And quat. What is it? And quat. Merrick growls. Standing. Silence falls over them. Hayes is doing a whole lot of talking with his eyes and I realize he is resorting to the mind link. Gone are the whisperings, replaced with a way to hide things from me. I'm not a fan of Bay. I can feel the anger rolling off him as his skin goosebumps. And he cracks his NCK, trying to remain in control. Something terrible must have happened for him to lose control like this. I glance at Hayes, who we look on his face as he stares down his older brother before he drops his chin. And quat. What is wrong? And quat. I ask, standing and reaching out to touch Merrick's arm. His muscles flex as he works his fist open and closed and then slowly looks down at me. And quat. Nothing you need to worry about. And quat. He mutters, dropping a ** on the top of my head. And quat. Why don't you some dinner with Penny and Percy? And quat. He says, stepping away from me, going cold. Go grab. His change in demeanor has my stomach in knots, as I think of all the possibilities. The only thing I can think of is they figured out who the mole is, and it was someone he trusted and he is feeling betrayed. And quote, I would rather eat with you. And quote, I admit. Watching him nervously. His anger seems to melt a little as he offers me a soft smile. And quote, maybe? A walk then, since I haven't taken you to training and your leg still needs the exercise. And quote, okay, and quote, I say, but in truth, I would rather remain by his side. And quote, I've mind-linked Penny. She will meet you on the trail. Percy will be your shadow. And quote, Hayes whispers as I walk past him, and I nod. And quote, thank you, Hayes. And quote, I look over my shoulder once more as I walk out the door, catching Merrick watching me as I leave. He smiles softly when he realizes he has been caught, and it sends a thrill through me. The walk through the pack house is eerily quiet. No one enters the halls or even watches me as I slide out the side door. Not that it is common to be stopped or acknowledged, but it's strange doing these things without Merrick or my Gamma gang. Thankfully, it doesn't take me long to make it to the trail. Once I leave the pack house, the walk through the old town makes me smile, knowing that this is all mine, truly mine, as of tomorrow. There is no taking it back, or kicking me out once Merrick accepts me. It also means there is no escape for me. But why would I want to escape when he makes life feel like wanted? What Merrick sees in me I will never understand. I'm just glad he sees more than anyone else ever saw in me. My excitement swells and I find myself walking faster to get to Penny. I can't wait to tell her the news. She is going to freak out and want to help me pick out a dress, and thank the heavens for that, because I look around, expecting to have come across her by now. But I see nothing. I spin, looking behind me and in the shadows where I expect Percy to be, but again I see nothing. A strange feeling falls over me, and my skin prickles with awareness. Something is wrong. I can feel the way it creeps up my skin, setting off alarm bells in my head, and I whimper, unsure of what the hell to do. Percy is supposed to be with me somewhere, hidden, and Penny can't be too far off. FK, I wish I had that mind link up and running right now. And quote, Percy, and quote, I call out, spinning as I wring my hands together. Where the hell is everyone? My wolf whines, making her presence known while we wait for a response. Percy doesn't make a peep, and I can feel the dread creeping in on me. And quote, Percy, and quote, I hiss into the shadows of the trees, but if he is there, he doesn't answer me. It's fine, it's probably just because I'm not used to being alone anymore. I try to reassure myself. Then I see it, a figure moving toward me, and I breathe a little easier. Until I realize it's not the red-headed man who is supposed to be protecting me. Nor is it his twin sister with a spunky personality. I wait for a and quote, shit, and quote. I squeal as I turn and sprint up the trail and through the trees, leaping over roots and sidestepping rocks, like I do in my training sessions. It takes longer than I'd like to admit, but I make it to the clearing at the top of the hill. 20 more feet. I just need to make it 20 feet further for Merrick to see me on the ledge from his office. That is all it will. I try to crawl away, screaming out for Percy or Penny again, hoping they are close enough to hear me. But again, no one comes to aid me. The person on my back wrestles with me as I throw an elbow back. My arm. At least I hit the asshole in the face. They groan in pain, falling off me with curse words, and I twist, popping up as fast as I can, ready to put up a good damn fight. Then I pause, squinting my eyes to make sure. And what, Grady, and what? I ask, shocked, eyes wide now as I glance around for anyone who might come after him. If Percy or Penny show up now, he is dead. Man. And what, Cole, and what? He breathes, stumbling forward and cupping my face, a massive smile on his lips like he has never been so happy. And what? I found you, and what? And what? What the hell are you doing here? And what? I hiss, ushering him as far from the ledge as I can get him. And what? I came for you, and what? He mutters, looking confused as I pull his hand away from my face. I frown at him, trying to grapple with the fact he is here, that he is confessing he came for me. He clings to my fingers in desperation, and I let him as I scan him for injury. And what? I came to save you from the Alpha of Death. Colette, I came to claim you 19. As mine. And what? Merrick POV. I pace my office, back and forth, waiting for Percy to update me on what the hell is happening. And what? You could just go watch for yourself. And what? Hayes says, unamused. He is angry with me. It's not like he has a reason to be. It's not his mate about to have a meet-up with her ex and probably try to run off. And what? Why the hell would I want to watch her betray me? And what? And what? You are making assumptions. And what? He shoots back, wandering to the massive bay window overlooking the lake and the cliff that is above it. I roll my eyes, looking at him. And what? The last time I didn't make assumptions, I was blindsided and our father ended up murdered. And what? And what? She isn't the bitch that set you up. Colette doesn't have a calculating bone in her B*die, and you know that. And what? Hayes groans, throwing his head back before he glares over at me. And what? How would I know that? And what? I grit out to him. And what? How do I know she didn't lure him here? And what? And what? Wow. And what? He scoffs with the shake of his head before turning to face me fully. And what? Is that what it's come to? You are so and what? Hopelessly in love with that poor girl, that you are convincing yourself she will screw. And what? K off. And what? I grumble. He is wrong. Trust is earned. When it's given freely, that's when people screw you over. Or worse, when it gets people killed. Grady found her, Percy says in the back of my mind, and I glare at my younger brother, who still shakes his head. He finally lifts his hands like he gives up and he retreats to the couch, where he plops down with a heavy sigh. And what? If Colette finds out, she may never forgive you. And what? He grumbles. And what? You and I both know there is a lot she won't forgive me for, won't change her fate or mine. And what? I move toward the window, my heart pumping as I wait for more information from Percy. And what? She is mine whether she hates me or not. And what? She hit him in the face, Percy says. And I can hear his amusement, like he is proud of our little Luna, and I smirk to myself. I like the sound of her hitting her ex-mate who felt she was worth letting go. Not that I can hate him too much. How can I when he is the reason I know she is truly mine? No. Grady's screw-up made my plan so much easier to get her into my pack. But that doesn't mean I have to stay close, but not too close. Alpha. I hear Percy's conflict through the mind link and my anger grows. I know he and Penny take their roles seriously. But until tomorrow, until she is officially their Luna and announced to the pack, their loyalty is expected to remain with me and the pack. That is your Luna, Percy. Your job is to make sure she is safe. If she tries to leave with him, you will stop her. Do you understand? Yes, Alpha, he shoots back. I see Hayes' pointed scowl, but I ignore it. He's never found his mate, so he doesn't get to dictate how I treat mine or determine if I can trust her. And Quat, you are putting him in a tough spot. Why not send me? And Quat, he asks. And Quat, why the hell would you? And Quat, because I need you here to control me. And Quat, I roar at him, my eyes burning him up with anger. Is he so dense he doesn't see that I will kill F. King Grady? The second I leave this office, that fucker is dead, and it will hurt Colette. It will F. King hurt her, and as much as I know all of this test of loyalty will hurt her. I know killing Grady would make me forever lose her. There would be no coming back from that. She is my second chance mate. There is no one else for me, but that doesn't mean. And Quat, what? And Quat. His eyes grow wide and he sits forward on the couch, alert. Then he grows soft and he frowns. And Quat, you are AF King confusing man. Brother. And Quat, yeah, well, I feel the same damn way. And Quat, I grumble. And Quat, I didn't create this opportunity, Hayes, but I will not pass up the chance to determine her loyalty before I take her as my Luna. It's as if the moon goddess hers. And Quat, you are making a mistake. And Quat, Hayes grits out, standing and slapping a hand on my shoulder. And Quat, you should learn to trust. And Quat, trust. And Quat, I chuckle dryly. And Quat, trust. What exactly should I trust? The mate bond that already fucked me once? That the traitor among us will just happily reveal themselves? No. Hayes. The only thing I trust is blood and my senior ranking wolves. Everyone else can fuck right off at this point. And Quat, there he is. And Quat, he says, his voice dripping in disappointment. And Quat, the cool alpha of death everyone talks about. Been a while since I've seen him. Can't say I missed him. And Quat, Luna is telling him to leave. Alpha, Percy says, breaking through the mind link. My lycan vibrates with pride and happiness as I freeze, unsure of what to do. What my lycan wants to do is go to her, chase her down and hold her tight. Not in a million years did I think she would. I mean, I had hoped, but even I know hope is usually a useless emotion that sets people up for a harder fall. Stay with her. I am coming, I decide, finally. Feeling like I can breathe for the first time. Just knowing she is choosing me is enough to keep my murderous tendencies at bay. For now, Hayes watches me in shock as I rush out the office door. Everything passing me in a blur as I make my way out the pack house and toward the trail. Percy said they were. She's not Lauren, I remind myself, and I inch up in the tree line, listening to the hushed whispers of Colette and the fuckface Grady, who seems to think he can sneak into my territory unnoticed. The wind works in my favor, blowing their words toward and Quat. I don't like this. And Quat. Percy protests from above me in the tree. And Quat. I didn't ask. And Quat. I mutter. And Quat. This is breaking her trust. And Quat. He warns me, but I don't care. And Quat. You go around the other side. And Quat. I say, glaring at him before he nods and slinks off silently through the forest shadows. And Quat. What do you mean? And Quat. Grady's voice whispers, sounding confused. And Quat. Merrick will kill you. And Quat. Colette sounds scared. And Quat. I'm not afraid of him. And Quat. And Quat. You should be. And Quat. She snaps. And Quat. He will end you so quickly. I have seen how quickly he changes, Grady. You don't stand a chance against him. Damn right he doesn't. Hell, the moment she sends him on his way, I will scoop this dickwad up and stow him away in my dungeon. Colette is not leaving me, ever. And quat. I'm not leaving without you, Cole, and quat, he says with conviction. And quat, you said you love me. How can I leave you, and quat? Silence falls over them and my chest aches, my lycan angrily railing against my sanity, trying to break free and make an example of them. When did she tell him she loved him? Tonight. Before I got here. Does she still love him after everything? And quat, I am telling you to leave, and quat, she says once more. And quat, please? I can't lose you again. And quat, so what? You will just stay here and mate with him. And quat, I made a promise. And quat, she hisses and Grady scoffs, laughing. And quat, a promise? I don't see a mark keeping you here. Maybe I should just mark you now, before he can, and quat, Grady says, sounding angry. I lurch forward, ready to tear his teeth from his skull, but I stop when I see her putting her hands up. And quat, please, stop, and quat, Colette sounds tired, worn down. Grady tugs her close to his chest by her hand and my vision turns red. And quat, I want you, Colette, and quat, Grady whispers, then he grips the back of her NCK and presses his lips to hers. I stare, stunned for half a second, before dragging my eyes away. All semblance of pride or happiness obliterates and I'm left feeling hollow and really f***ing angry. Any second longer and I will kill them both. I hear nothing, only the ringing in my ears as her betrayal reopens a part of my injured soul I thought I had sealed with hatred. Betrayed twice by the women the moon goddess stupidly destined to love me. Do not let her leave this pack, Percy. Do you understand me? Yes, Alpha, he shoots back obediently. Hayes, I want this fucker picked up on the border as he tries to leave. Have a little faith, brother. Hayes tries to calm me, but I shut down the link before he can continue. My chest feels like it might rupture and my head spins. The amount of emotions I have felt in the last half hour is enough to give me an aneurysm as I walk. Where? I have no idea. The scenery seems to meld into one. I hate that I was right. Even if I had expected it, even if I had hoped I was being a fool, I wasn't. I was right. Time seems to fade away and I sit on a boulder, staring at the moon as it rises over the lake. And quat, Merrick, and quat, her once sweet voice now grates on my ears and I look over my shoulder to see her red-faced and shocked to find me. And quat, how was your walk? And quat, I force out the words, refusing to let my emotions take over me. Maybe she sent him packing, and maybe she was coming to confess she ran into him. That pesky feeling of hope tries to creep up, but squash it back down. I won't dare to hope, not with my heart. Never again. Instead, she can prove herself to and quat, it was uneventful, and quat, she says with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I take in her dirty clothes and arch our brow. And quat, uneventful, huh? And quat, I ask, and she swallows, then nods quickly. And quat, so the dirt just jumped onto your clothing. And quat, oh, and quat, she looks down, surprise written all over her face, then she grins. And quat, I fell. Tripped on a root, and quat, and quat, and quat. I nod, and quat. Actually, and quat, she says, sighing heavily. And quat, Yes, and quat. My eyes snapped to hers, unable to kill the F-king hopefulness in my tone. And quat. Penny wasn't out here, and I called for Percy, but he never responded. And quat, and quat, and what, and quat, I ask her. And quat. Did something happen? And quat, no, and quat. She rushes out fast, looking over her shoulder. Does she really think she isn't suspicious as fuck? And quat. Nothing happened, just a walk alone in the woods. And quat. You weren't alone, Colette. And quat. I say, my lips pressing into a firm line. And quat. You never are. And quat. So, you know. And quat. She asks, her face blazing red, and I tilt my head, watching her closely, do my best to look confused as I furrow my brows. And quat. No what? And quat. I ask her, and she clears her throat, rubbing her hands on her pants. And quat. It's nothing. And quat. She smiles. And quat. Are you sure? And quat. Yeah, I'm sure. And quat. And just like that? What little hope I stupidly let creep in bursts into flames, letting loose a wildfire that suffocates all thoughts of ever loving anyone again. Chapter 20. Colette POV. I cradle my hand, the skin still stinging, where I slapped Grady and told him to leave. He has put me in an impossible situation, one that has the potential to ruin everything I thought I was building here with Mary and with Merrick. I am. Hell, he could choose anyone in the entire pack and he wanted me. Zero hesitation. One little lie. And Grady was rejecting me without hesitation. He did it with tears, but even if he hadn't, and for him to show up here, after everything, after weeks of him being with Leslie, he had a lot of nerve to sneak into my pack and try to convince me to run away with him, especially since it is only after learn. So, of course, when the asshole KSSED me, I had no choice but to gather my brains and smack the shit out of him. But now that I see Merrick, the way he is watching me, like he knows something is wrong, I can't tell him. As mad as I am with Grady, no matter how hard I want to hit him again. Merrick warned me the day he chose me. He warned me he would kill Grady, and I believe wholeheartedly that he will. So as much as it hurts, I have to keep this impromptu meeting a secret until I know Grady is gone safely from pack grounds. Until I feel he is far enough away that I can calm Merrick down and explain what happened. Quat. You should head to find some dinner. And quat. Merrick says, his face stoic and unreadable. And quat. It's already late. And quat. I thought we would eat together. And quat. You thought wrong. And quat. He snaps and I rear back, surprised by his demeanor. And quat. Oh, it's just that earlier you said we would. And quat. I'm sorry. And quat. He exhales, cutting me off. And quat. There is a lot to attend to for tomorrow, and I still have to figure out who the other traitor is. And quat. My eyebrows shoot up. And quat. The other traitor? There is more than one. And quat. I ask and he scoffs, shaking his head. And quat. Seems I am up to my NCK in them lately. And quat. He mutters. And quat. I will see you tomorrow for the official introduction to the pack. And quat. Oh, I see. And quat. I sigh, not even trying to veil my disappointment, but he seems to be lost in his thoughts again. Then I'll just go. Merrick doesn't fight me on it and my chest aches as I wander away from him, hating how he doesn't even look at me once. I should go back and tell him, Shit. I know I should have told him right out the gate. I can't even remember how I made it back to my room, my mind moving a million miles a minute and my emotions completely wrecked. Here, I thought all this time I loved Grady, that I had felt that earth-shattery, yet when that bond broke, when I left with Merrick and felt what it was like to be treated like more than a maid, more than someone who could never have anything. Did I know what love was? Was it just me feel? Know what actual love was? And quat, you are back, and quat, Penny says, sounding relieved as she peeks around the bedroom door. I give her a strange look as she pushes into the room, closing the door behind her. And quat, yeah, and quat, it's just that Percy mind linked me. He said that you may have had a rough walk. And quat, my stomach drops and I can feel my face grow pale. There is no looking her in the eyes. Is that what Merrick meant by not being alone? Does he know too? All the terrible ways he could kill Grady come flooding into my mind and bile rises in my and quat, did Percy say anything else? And quat, I ask, finally lifting my eyes to meet hers. Penny watches me for a moment before nodding her head. And quat, are you okay? And quat, she whispers as tears dot my eyes. And quat, why the hell did he come here? And quat, I ask her softly as tears fall from my eyes. A frustrated groan tumbles from my lips as I move to the bed to sit. Everything feels wrong. And quat, well, what did he want? And quat, Penny asks, leaning on the dresser across from me. And quat, he wanted me to run away with him. And quat, I scoff, wiping at my eyes annoyed. And quat, he thought he was coming to save me from the big bad alpha of death. And quat, do you need saving? And quat, Penny asks. At first I think she is joking, but the longer I watch her, the more I realize she is serious. Does she think I am here because Merrick is forcing me? That I would truly run just because an opportunity arises? And quat, no. And I sure as shit don't want it. And quat, I say, honestly. And quat, and did you tell him that? And quat, yes. I told him to leave, and then we argued. And he got mad at me and he, and quat, I pause, remembering the moment his lips hit mine, cracked and weirdly wet. The lips I once had longed for felt wrong, gross against my skin. And quat, he what? And quat. Penny's voice rises as she stands up straight, ready to go on the attack, murder written all over her face. And quat, did he hurt you? Why didn't Percy jump in? And quat, he kssed me, and quat, I whimper, pushing my hands into my hair, afraid to look at her. What if she hates me after this? Oh shit. And quat, she murmurs. Penny, I was stunned. I didn't know what to do, and for a second I just stood there. Then I realized what was happening, and I slapped him. And quat, I rush out. The memory still too fresh. And quat, wait, you slapped him? And quat, Penny asks, sounding surprised. And quat, you didn't k*** him back? And quat, of course I didn't k** him back. And quat, I snap at her, a little offended. And quat, well, that is good. And quat, she says, with a relieved chuckle as she plops down next to me. And quat, I don't know what to do, Penny. And quat, I groan, covering my face with my hands. How does someone go from no one wanting you to two men? And quat, what do you mean? You aren't planning to leave, are you? And quat, her voice trembles slightly and I frown at her. And quat, Seriously. Do you really think I would leave? And what? I ask. She shrugs. And what? You are my Luna, and I'd consider you a friend, but I've only known you 3 weeks. And what? She reminds me with a half frown. Penny has a point, but it doesn't change things. 3 weeks may seem like nothing, but it so much more. And what? I care about Merrick. And what? I mutter, my cheeks pink. I like him, and I asked him to mark me. And what? Then what are you going on about not knowing what to do? And what? Penny's brows knit together in confusion. And what? When do I tell Merrick? And what? And what? Tell him about your ex-mate. KSSINGU. And what? She laughs sardonically. And what? Yes, and what? I say, furrowing my brows. And what? Oof. That I don't know. And what? She blows out a huff of air, looking as perplexed as I feel. And what? If it were me, I wouldn't. And what? And what? I need to be honest with him, and I want to tell him, but he told me before he would kill Grady. I can't imagine what he'd do to him now. And what? I admit, and she winces, looking away. And what? Won't be pretty. And what? She sighs heavily. And what? But the truth is important, so I would say sooner rather than later. And what? And what? You don't think Merrick would actually kill Grady, do you? If I told him. And what? And what? Hell yeah, he would. Like, without a second thought. And what? She says. And what? So I will tell him tomorrow then. And what? I say with conviction, more trying to convince myself. And what? I can't be responsible for Grady's death. There is no world in which I could ever forgive myself for that. And what? And what? Well, I am going to get back to planning your big day tomorrow. And what? Penny says, standing abruptly and rushing to the door. My mouth falls open at how fast her demeanor changes. I just poured my heart out to he tell anyone, and she is just running off, just like that. My gut is telling me something is off, that I need to make sure this stays a secret, even though I know she is my gamma and is loyal to me. I feel the need to ensure she says nothing to Merrick or even Hayes. Chapter 20. And what? Promise you won't tell anyone what I told you. And what? I say. I watch her face turn serious and her eyes meet mine. But she bows, accepting my command. And what? Yes, Luna Letty. And what? She looks uncomfortable, but she slaps on a smile and shoots me a wink, making me feel a little more at ease as she spins and walks out their door. After a few moments of standing in silence, I make my way to the bathroom, recognizing how badly I need to clean myself up after my encounter. The water pounds into the empty shower as it heats, and I stare, wishing it was at a bath rather than a shower. But I can't wait. Tomorrow won't just be the day I become Luna. It will be the first day of the rest of my life. Tomorrow I will become Merrick's full mate. My cheeks heat at the thought of tomorrow night and how the marking will change everything.